Hello and welcome. I'm Weiser Cornell, and this is Support for Stressful Times. Let's take a breath together. I'm so happy that I get to talk to you and we get to spend this half hour together and that we get to do that in our bodies. Yeah, so pausing together to feel embodied, feel in your body right now. And is your body in pain anywhere? Because one of the things I want to talk about today is pain. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Uh, David writes, with the opening up from the pandemic restrictions, I'm noticing I'm feeling spaces where there was stress I wasn't even aware of. There you go. See, I thought 15 months ago, 16 months ago, what was stressful was being locked in. Now, it's so wonderful how we get used to things. Now I feel so safe in my own home, in my own neighborhood, and with a mask on. And when I take a walk, walking around the other people who are on the sidewalk and sometimes walking into the street so we're not too close. And now other people are taking their masks off. So maybe I will too. Yeah. So new, I don't know if that's what you meant, David, but new places of stress, new areas of stress, new areas of stress in the body. And let's spend some time today talking about how to be with stress so that it doesn't stress us. So, right, there's two levels of stress. There's the stress itself, and then there's how it can be stressful to have it. And I was going to talk about pain as well, because many of us have simply got pain sometimes. And it's one of the reasons people don't feel their bodies as much as I might recommend, is that, oh, but my body's in pain, so I need to avoid it. And there's physical pain and emotional pain. Maybe there's loss in your life. Maybe there's sorrow. Maybe there's distance and loneliness. Maybe there's grief. Maybe there's pain from long ago. And maybe we've developed ways of avoiding pain, not going there. My mentor, Eugene Gendlin, wrote these beautiful words: what is not felt remains the same. When it is felt, it changes. It's almost like when we don't feel how we feel, we're holding our breath and it doesn't change. And then when we feel it, it begins a process in which change is inevitable. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who told me he'd been in pain, emotional pain, for 3 years. But he kept returning to the feel of it in his body. And now it's much better, much easier. So, how is your pain, physical and emotional? And what can we do so that we're not overwhelmed by our pain, not debilitated by our pain? Surely we don't want to say, I'm opening the door, pain, come on in. Well, that's true, because there's a third way, there's a middle way. When I was growing up in rural Illinois in the United States, we only learned two ways of being with feelings or pain or whatever was going on. The two ways were don't feel it or be flooded by it. You feel it all or you feel it none, all or none. Those were the only two ways. When I was 22, I met Eugene Gendlin, and in learning focusing, I learned the third way, which is I can be with how I feel. I can notice, I can become aware, I can be sensing. I am still here, even though there are feelings. And even this language of I am sensing. And what am I sensing, right? So you finish the sentence, but starting the sentence with the words, I am sensing. So nice. Is what am I aware of? I feel like that completes the cycle and it allows an evolving situation. Because really, in natural settings, in nature, in life itself, nothing ever stays the same. Even in lockdown, we didn't stay the same. And now everything's changing. So I'm just going to take a moment to see what people are sharing in the chat. Ina writes, it seems there's not enough air in my lungs. So you are sensing. It seems like there's not enough air in your lungs. David says, it's weird shaking hands. Yeah, I don't think yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And Angelica writes, I have a broken heart from loss, and I feel the pain in my heart. So bringing awareness to the place where you feel the pain. You can also use a gentle hand to help give it company. The hand isn't trying to make it go away. That's what I mean by the gentle hand. The hand goes there to say, I am with you. I know you're there. So we sense and we notice what we're feeling, including pain. And then we follow that up with an inner relationship. And the inner relationship might be, hello, I'm with you. I know you're there. So there's I, and there's the feeling, and I am here with it. So the quality of gentleness that we can give toward ourselves is so beautiful to me. I really, really love being able to do that with myself, to be gentle with myself. Sometimes times are hard. We can be gentle. Yeah, yeah. Sonia says it's different in Brazil about the pandemic. Yeah, I hear that, Sonia. I wish you well. You have to do what you have to do. Marguerite writes, I moved my house from a stressful environment to a place of peace. Oh, congratulations. That's good for you. Oh, and then you write, something inside me can't deal with that. Interesting. So now that you're in a place of peace, pain is coming up for you and you're able to feel it now. That does happen sometimes, that we get to a safe place or we get to a calm place, and then we can feel how hard life has been, how stressed we've been. Our bodies can feel safe enough to start talking to us about some hard things. And we're here to listen. Yeah, Allison says, I thought I was in touch with my body, having been a dancer and fitness instructor, and I realized I've used my body, not communicated with it and loved it. Ah, that seems like an important realization, Allison. Deb writes, I'm sensing something burning in my mouth and tongue most of the time, and it feels like it's not going to get better. So it could be that something burning needs medical attention. I want to say that a persistent pain that doesn't seem to have an emotional quality to it certainly is worth talking to a medical professional about. But I'm not familiar in my life with pains that don't ever get better. I was hit by a car when I was 64 years old. I broke my pelvis in 2 places. I was in some kind of pain or discomfort for at least a year. And I had thoughts maybe this isn't going to get better. So I've learned that we can't always believe our thoughts. Do you know that? We can't always believe our thoughts. This won't get better isn't a feeling, it's a thought. And it comes from a worried part that we can also be gentle with. I like to use my little dragon doll to represent worried thoughts. This this is not getting better. Ah, I hear that you are worried that this will not get better. Yes, it, maybe it won't. Oh, yeah, no, I really hear that you want it to get better, don't you? Uh-huh. So we can talk to our worried parts, and sometimes they don't sound worried at first. Sometimes they sound very sure. This won't get better. Nobody will understand. You're going to fail. They say things that sound very sure. And it's a way that parts of us express how worried they are. Ramachandra writes, it's a knot of constriction in the heart area. Beautiful. I love that vivid description, a knot of a knot of constriction. Beautiful. Yeah. So describing, being able to describe freshly is very useful. It's a very important thing to do because when we use repetitive abstract nouns, and pain is one of those, right? The word pain itself is very abstract. So many things are pain. That's what I mean by abstract. It's not specific. Are you in pain? How, where is it? And how is it? What's it feel like? What does it feel like from the inside? What does it feel like to be experiencing it? What does it feel like to be you experiencing it? And just asking yourself those questions, what is this like right now, is a process of greater openness and kindness towards yourself. It requires turning toward how you feel, even to begin asking such questions of yourself. How is this right now? And notice how if we say, I'm in pain, there's this pain, it keeps coming back. That is part of a pushing away process, part of a dissociative process. Whereas if we say, I wonder what this is like, and you might even, if you've been using the word pain, you might let the word pain float away for a while. Just see what it would be like to not have the word pain right there and instead describe it freshly as if you've never felt it before. So who had the burning? Deb. Even the word burning might, if you've used it a lot, if it's been a repetitive word you've used, let it sit on the side for a while and sense what you feel in your mouth and tongue as if you'd never felt it before. And let metaphors come. So what is it like? What is it like? Della writes, my 13-year-old twin daughters don't want to visit with us because they hold negative feelings and are using us as an excuse not to visit their father. We've tried to be so good to them, and it hurts to hear about how they're using their grandparents to not visit. Oh, I feel your hurt too. I'm so sorry you're having to go through that. You must miss them a lot. Yeah. And so you can be with the hurt that you're feeling and give it company. A big something in me feels the hurt that my daughters not visiting. And I can be with that. Another step you can take is to say, and there's something about that feels especially hurtful. So that you're in contact and you're listening. Nancy writes, I have so much grief over the discovery of unmarked graves of Indigenous children who were in residential schools in Canada. I feel bad for what my people did to the indigenous people. And I'm overwhelmed with the grief, and I feel like if I let myself feel this grief, I will cry forever. So something in you is worried that if you feel the grief, you'll cry forever. And it doesn't want you to cry forever. And you can let it know you hear that. The truth is, we don't know how long you'll cry. We don't know how long any of us will cry. So the recommendation I would give you is to be present. Be present with what's here now. The more we are present with what is and what's true, the more likely it is that it takes its next step. See, when I was growing up, we thought we either had feelings or we got rid of them. Like we never thought about feelings having a life of their own. That grief can become the determination to take some action, and that taking action can become a sense of community. So that's another thing that happens when we let our feelings live inside of us and be present to them, is that we discover what's next. And I also think, Della, who's bringing up this thing about the terrible wrongs that have been done to indigenous people around the world, that our community recovery from such wrongs has to include feeling. And that such wrongs were only possible because people cut themselves off from their natural human feelings of wanting to care for the young, no matter their color or background. So, looking in the chat again, really enjoying this conversation. Vincent writes, any tips on how to deal with embarrassment when pausing to sense when triggered by emotions that feel huge? I often feel hugely emotional due to stuff from the past, and I've learned to sense in when alone, and it's harder in company. Yeah, Vincent, I'm guessing from your name that you identify as a man, and it's harder for men also, I think, to let emotions show in front of other people. But maybe we can change that, right? Maybe we can be part of a wave of people where both men and women, even around others, can I'm feeling a bit emotional right now about this, and let me demonstrate and say, and I'm feeling a bit emotional right now. And that we can more and more model being able to have emotions in company. And yes, I know I know I'm asking a lot of you, and that if you feel embarrassment, well, you would be with that too. Maybe you could even say, I'm feeling a little embarrassed right now because tears are coming up in me. They I was reminded of some hard things that have happened to me when you were talking. I'm not guaranteeing that you'll be welcomed by everybody if you say that, but I hope you'll be drawn toward the people who do welcome you. So some other people are talking about, Deb did go to a doctor for the burning mouth. Yes. Yeah. Another thought is that pain wants to communicate with us, and pain can let us know what it needs. And so just by sensing it, describing it freshly, and staying with it, there may be a request in there. There may be something it's asking for. And I feel for you. That doesn't sound very pleasant. Definitely. Sam is asking a question. How can I tell if I'm dissociating? Well, I think the road for you is to begin by sensing what you're aware of right now. The road for all of us is here and now, sensing. How are you right now? How is it to be sitting? Are you sitting? Maybe you're standing or lying down. How is it? Do you feel your body's contact? Do you feel the places where you're touching something? How is it to take a breath? Do you feel the inner area of your body, your throat, chest, stomach? How is it in there? What's your inner weather like right now? Now, if you find areas of nothing, right? Oh, I feel nothing in my chest. I feel things in my throat. I feel things in my stomach, but in my chest, there's like a blank. There's nothing. Well, that might be something to get curious about, something to get interested in. It might be that there's something there that's trying not to feel something, and you could say hello to that. So Angelica says, oh, okay. So Angelica is the one who was saying she felt a pain in her heart for heartbreak. Now she says, I think my heart can be described as a pushing sensation. Oh, interesting. Almost like something is trying to break out. Interesting. So much more specific than the word pain, pushing like something's trying to break out. I love it. And then she adds, and I sense something in me that feels discomforted with the heartache. Okay. So in the heart, something is pushing, trying to get out. And then there's something else that's feeling, I don't want to feel this. I'm discomforted. I'm just guessing it's like that. Now, what can you do when you have two parts of you, one hurting or feeling something else pushing, and one that doesn't like that feeling? Well, you be the big space. We call it self in presence. You be the big space where they can both be as they are. Hello, hello. One may be in the body and one may seem to be floating near your head. That's what these kinds of stressful thoughts may feel like. So, hello, hello. Oh, and Sam, the one who asked about this feeling dissociated, says, I'm sensing something is feeling afraid and overwhelmed. Good. And I'm gently putting my hand on my hip flexors that feel tight, like I want to run away. Very good. Beautiful. It makes me happy to read that people are sensing and describing and acknowledging, sensing what it's like. And this is a completely accepting process of change. You know, sometimes people talk about how it seems like a kind of paradox that we accept how we feel and we don't try to change it, and that's the best way for it to change, but it's true. So again, just reminding you of that Gendlin quote, what is not felt remains the same. When it is felt, it changes. And I would just add from me, it doesn't change because we tried to change it. When we feel something as it is, and continue to bring awareness there, continue to sense what it feels like, change occurs. Just having a peek at the chat, Sarah says it's not just people, it's not just men, it's women too who can feel shame when showing hurt feelings. And there's also a possibility that women will be disrespected as getting, as for showing emotions. These are things that we hope will change in society that are not ideal right now. Ah, Wendy is writing, sometimes I find it helpful to ask the part that feels emotional pain, how would you like me to be with you? That's such a nice reminder, Wendy. Yes, and so we're within a few minutes of the end of our meeting today, and I just want to say, what have we been talking about today? Well, we've been talking about pain, both physical and emotional pain. You know, you shouldn't have to tell the difference. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes you don't know. And so these categories, physical, emotional, The kind of attention I'm talking about is not a categorizing kind of attention. It doesn't, it isn't about putting anything in a box and labeling it. It's a fresh sensing of what it's like. And so whether it's physical, emotional, or not, doesn't matter. I'm just saying that so that when I say pain, you don't assume I mean only physical. I mean all kinds of pain and all kinds of discomfort and all kinds of suffering. And giving them our company with kindness and gentleness, and doing that right now, in the here and now. It's in the present that everything happens. Everything becomes possible in the present moment. So, in this present moment, right here and now, yes, you can feel things that are carried from the past, but you are feeling them now. And actually, by giving care and company to something you feel now that's from the past, in a way, you're changing the past. In that sense, the past is present. And of course, we're changing our future. Because as you move into the future with a more present body, able to be with how you feel instead of pushing it away, how you will be in your future also changes. So exciting. So we've talked about describing it freshly as if you never felt it before. We've talked about being gentle and saying, I'm with you now, and sensing what kind of company it would like from you right now. I'll just take one more peek at the chat. Wow, so nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I love being here with you, and we do this every 2 weeks, and we will see you another time. Yay. Oh, somebody just said I was a gift to the universe. I'm so touched to hear that. Thanks, and so are you. Take care. Be present. Be gentle. See you next time.